All right, completing the square. So recall that numbers 33 and 35 on your identifying conics page of your foldable, which is the last page, were your hyperbolas. Okay. So as always, we want to group the x's and y's. Depending on what's happening, it really doesn't matter what goes first in the beginning. We might have to switch some things around, no big deal. And we're going to move that constant to the other side. We will be adding, but before we do that, we need to bring, so in this example, we need to bring out the negative so that we have x squared plus 2x, and we're going to add something inside of that to make it all nice and neat. For the y squared, we're going to bring out the 4 so that we're left with y squared minus 6y, and then we'll add something to that. And then on the other side, we will be adding in both of those places, but remember, we'll have to take into account distributing, so it'll actually be -1 times whatever we add here, and then it will be 4 times whatever we add there. Okay. So 2 divided by 1 squared is 1. So it's just going to be a 1. B divided by 2, so -6 divided by 2 is -3. Squared is adding 9. So we're actually adding 4 times 9 there, right? So we get negative. This becomes x plus 1 when we complete the square. We have a 4 there. This one becomes y minus 3. Quantity squared when we complete the square. -19 minus 1 plus 36 is 16. All right. To make this 1, we got to divide by 16 all the way across. Notice that my x is the negative, so I'm actually going to write it second. So I'm going to do 4 divided by 16 first, which is just 1/4. Then subtract x plus 1 squared over 16 equals 1. Okay. Let's look at one more, and I actually think this one's a little bit easier than the other one. I might be proven wrong here in a minute, but let's see. We do not have an x, so we only have to complete the square once, which is why my brain said this one's going to be easier. We'll see. Constant goes to the other side. We'll only be adding once, so that's good. Okay. And then, so on my next line here, I'm just going to leave the 4x squared alone. I'm going to factor out the minus 25. So I will be left with y plus 6y, and then something, equals 125 plus -25 times whatever we add there. Okay. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. 3 squared is 9. So I'm going to actually be putting 9 in both of those places. So then I get 4x squared minus 25 times y plus 3 squared equals -100. Lastly, I need to divide by -100 all the way across so that I get a positive 1 at the end. Now notice what that does. That I thought I had it in the right order as far as positive and then negative, But now that we're dividing by a negative, this negative and negative become positive. They need to be my front runners there. So 25 over 100 becomes 1/4. Minus 4 over 100 becomes 1/25. So it looks like that as my final answer. If this blew your mind completely, I highly, highly, highly suggest mastering, so not just completing, mastering doing circles, completing the square. Okay, you got that? Cool. Ellipses, completing the square, because if you can do those things with mastery, meaning like you don't need help, you can do them as many times as you were told to, whatever, this part should become easier. But if you are still confused on those others, then I would not be surprised if you're confused on these as well.